is the resistance.
What's up, everyone? This is TinMan with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you're watching this, you are the resistance. And welcome to TinMan TV. Yes, everyone, this is TinMan TV. I, of course, am your host, Chris Sheldon, the Tin Man, with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you are watching this, you are the resistance, and I forgot to start the Rumble feed. I am off my game today. Yes, this is TinMan TV with the Worldwide Resistance Network, and this, of course, is the infamous Monster Blue, the fictitious product that was based off of Alex Jones's Ethylene Blue, which is actually a really great product. He's not sponsoring me or anything, but given how much he plugs the product, we had to rib him a little bit here. But yes, this is the fictitious product that is known as Monster Blue, the fictitious product. It doesn't actually exist because we are not sponsored by anybody here. We do not have any corporate sponsors. We are not sponsored by APAC. We don't receive APAC money or any of that. We are of the people, by the people, for the people. So if you like these broadcasts, please like and share these videos and the live transmissions. Follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN. Hit the notification bell to fuck up YouTube's algorithm and be notified anytime we go live. Just like I said, I forgot to hit the Rumble feed because I'm a dork. And as always, check out our online store. Tons of great merchandise there. More coming out all the time. It's well worth the investment. Great talking point when you get this merch. And if that's not your cup of tea, if you don't want to spend money, that's fine. It costs nothing to share the live feeds or to follow us on social media. So, and it really helps us out, helps us reach more people. And like they say in the activist community, like Jones and Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes say, get big or the globalists will eat you alive. Something to that effect. But regardless of how they say it, it's a true statement. We want to grow this operation. We want to reach more people, and we want to be able to adequately combat the globalists, not just with information, but any way we possibly can. So if we can get better equipment, great. If we can pay for exposure, great. If we can make this broadcast more professional and more seamless and more interactive, great. But we cannot do that without you. So please share the live feeds. And if you can, check out the online store. It's well worth it. Tons of great products that trigger numerous talking points. We got new face masks in light of the pandemic. Why not? At least give it a look. And I guarantee you're going to want something there. Because the designs are just that badass. And I know because I'm the one that designed it. So help a brother out. Alright? You support. We're in this fight together, right? So, back those who back you. I'm doing this for you. I ain't doing this for me. None of this money goes into my pocket. It all goes back into this operation. Everything you see here, the microphones, the professional setup, the banner in the background, which will be upgrading. It all came out of my pocket. So, help support the broadcast because I ain't making any money off this, and I ain't trying to make money off this. I'm trying to combat the globalists so I can live a normal, happy life. And so that you can live a normal, happy life. So, We are the resistance. That's what I say. If you are watching this, you are the resistance. That's what I say that. And on that note, let's just go ahead and jump right in to the bullshit. One of the biggest caveats or biggest enemies of the populist movement and humanity has got to be Bill Gates. And with what he's been doing as of late with his little ticks, have really gotten people pissed the fuck off. In fact, there has been a massive call for his arrest. People are in the streets protesting. You can hear it. Arrest Bill Gates. Arrest Bill Gates. People are pissed. Hey, and this isn't just in America. This is globally that this is happening. People do not like this guy. People want him in jail, and he should be in jail. Okay? This guy is guilty of crimes against humanity, unlawful vaccination with his mosquitoes and the ticks. Many people have even died from these tick bites and the reactions that resulted, which constitutes murder. Okay? So this guy needs to be in jail. It ain't no joke, guys. Ain't no joke. And I say we already got viewers popping in. Comments are enabled. Feel free to join in the conversation. That is one thing that we can say above most others, is that unlike most political podcast shows and radio shows that have a hotline number that you can call in at a certain point in the show and share your brief thoughts and opinions, we say, fuck that. Join in the conversation and be a part of it from beginning to end. So if you have any thoughts or opinions or information, share it in the comment section. Comments are enabled. Come be a part of the show. Now, it's no secret that Bill Gates has been weaponizing these ticks. And as you can see, most Americans are pissed off. They do not like this guy. Most Americans know that he helped create and has a patent on the COVID-19 virus, the coronavirus, or as I've come to call it, corona herpes. Okay, he had a patent on it. He shipped it from the States in 2016 when there was that big investigation and scandal. He shipped that motherfucker to Wuhan, China, where it conveniently broke out in 2019. He shipped it to a lab that is notorious for shit like this happening. And then they tried to blame it on a wet market and an uncooked bat. I'm sorry, but, didn't Ozzy Osbourne disprove that notion back in the day when he bit the head off a bat? Why didn't he get COVID back then? Why didn't COVID outbreak back then? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And people have been eating raw, uncooked animals, even in the modern era, for the longest time, and there was no COVID outbreak. But yet, the virus that Bill Gates has a patent for, that he shipped to Wuhan, China, just happens to outbreak in Wuhan, China because of a bat in a wet market. Sorry, I'm not buying that. I'm really not buying that at all. And most Americans aren't. And now that he's doing this shit with the ticks, he's already pulled the shit with the blacking out the sun and the mosquitoes and all this shit. And now you've got the ticks. People are fucking pissed. People are gunning for this guy. And if we don't see adequate arrests and prosecution and sentencing of this man and others, it's only a matter of time before the American people stand up and take matters into their own hands. I mean, if the government is not going to do it, then it's going to result in a civil uprising. And these people are just going to show up at these motherfuckers' houses, and it's going to be like the French Revolution. Okay? And I'm not advocating for violence, but I'm making a prediction based on the available facts and how people generally react. And that's what Bill Gates is hoping to avoid. He doesn't want you eating meat because meat, for whatever reason, amplifies resistance. You know, that's why they try to suppress the pineal gland and put the fluoride in the water to try to dumb you down and make you docile and complacent. And we need that because that's what results in revolution. That's why 1776 happened. That's why the French Revolution happened. That's why all these things happen. But now Bill Gates wants everybody dumbed down. And, you know, it's not just the vaccines. It's in our fucking food and everything. You look at Operation Artichoke that was recently declassified. In fact, let's just go to that. Jones covered it fairly adequately. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. Let's just give it to him on this one.
So, CIA declassified documents last week. Operation Artichoke to poison vaccines, food supply, and the water to dumb us down and make us controllable. Now new documents about ESP control, how we're really electrochemical systems, liquid crystals, and the pineal gland, and how most people have microscopic to actual large worm infestations, not just from cats, you name it, like Kennedy has one in his brain, and they didn't tell the public most cancer, breast cancer, brain cancer is worms. Now, this is all over the place. Joe Rogan talks about it, I have for years. But here it is. Scientists and doctors figuring out now, the CIA knew in 62 that dewormers could reverse most cancers and didn't tell the public. That's mass murder. Here it is.
My parasite medications work against cancer cells. And it turns out that the parasites use mitochondrial substrate level phosphorylation in the tissue. And these embendazole, fenbendazole kill these parasites. So I tried it on the cancer cell, and sure as hell, it targets the mitochondrial substrate and glycolysis. So we have a mechanism now why parasite medications are working. But cancer is not a parasite. All these people say, oh, cancer is a parasite. It's not a parasite. Parasites and tumors use a common metabolic pathway, and a drug that works against parasites can be very effective against cancer. And that's what we begin to see, especially under nutritional ketosis.
So to be clear, the anti-parasite drugs cut off the same mechanism in cancer, but we now know and have known that a lot of cancers from parasites, it's double good. And I don't sell that, but you can buy it online. And my medical doctor told me years ago, take this once a year as a regimen. I do. That's important information you might want to write down, folks, okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look it up. Go to the UN's own website. They admit it. Over 2 million people have cognitive disabilities because they do not have enough iodine. In the 20s, they found this. How they put in the salt, IQs went up about 20 points on average, 15, 20 points. Well, we have the very best atomic iodine in the world. Has been available in several years, ladies and gentlemen. But we have the original X2 back, but even stronger, pure atomic. Atomic isn't radioactive. It means it's on the periodic table. It is absolutely pure.
So, yeah, they've been poisoning the food. They withheld an essential cure for cancer for the better part of, 80 years now? Okay, they released it back in the 60s? Yeah. They had this back in the 1960s. Operation Artichoke, and they knew that dewormers helped to fight cancer cells. They knew in the 20s that iodine helps with cognitive function. Yet most people don't know about this shit. Okay, because they kept it from you. And now it's all coming out. Okay? And now you've got so-called experts like Bill Gates, who doesn't have a medical degree and is a noted fucking criminal and psychopath. Right? And has openly stated that the world is overpopulated and that the population needs to be reduced. Okay, why are you going to take fucking medical advice from somebody who says that the world is overpopulated and needs to be reduced? That makes no fucking sense at all. And now he's got these fucking tick boxes that are being dropped all over the place with genetically modified ticks that make it so that you can't eat beef. And in fact, let's just, again, jump to Jones. So he covered it fairly well. I mean, I give credit where credit is due. So check this out. See? Update. CDC says tick bites are driving record ER surges as reports of boxes of baby ticks being released continue across the map. Bill Gates has been weaponizing ticks with alpha-gal syndrome and breeding them en masse to be flying syringes.
Tick bites drive record ER surge. CDC says map shows where. All these people are dying of alpha-gal. You don't just get violently sick when you've been bitten by the tick and have alpha-gal. You die many times. We got all the maps for you here. And you can look at it year after year. Ticks are showing up thousands of miles away from where they never were. And boxes fall from the sky. People catch it on tape, run over, and all these little baby ticks that were bred, just like the baby mosquitoes. Bill Gates breeds in mass. I've shown you the newscast, how great he is, how he's your savior. Now, while we sit around and talk about black versus white and Muslim versus Christian and all the rest of this stuff, it's all very going on. Just remember, it's been declassified 60 years ago, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. And this year, dozens of declassifications and whistleblowers out of the Pentagon and Fort Detrick, Maryland, that Bill Gates has been weaponizing ticks with alpha-gal syndrome causing systems so you can't eat beef anymore. And you got the WEF 6 years ago bragging, saying, we're going to weaponize ticks and release them so you don't eat beef anymore. Hell, they rolled out a shot that erases your immune system, gives you cancer, sterilizes your ass. You don't think they're going to release insects on you? And they don't even care they've been caught. And I know so many people, personally, that work as landscapers and ranchers and surveyors. There's a surveyor clip from yesterday I didn't play where he explains something really good about type of sulfur you can put on your boots. It's dead on. I forgot. Grandpa taught me that too. Yeah, my grandpa taught me how to live off the land. His taught him to be a businessman. So we got that information. Well, my grandpa's taught me how to be a businessman and live off the land and how the world really works. But just remember who these people are. Bill Gates all over Latin America and the U.S. releasing the damn mosquitoes weaponized, and then all these diseases explode. And he just laughs all the way because he's a psychotic killer that heads up the World Eugenics Society that his mother and father were the directors of for IBM. Don't know about that? Look it up. And so I want to go to a John Bound report on this and get to the latest. But first, let's put this on screen. This is USA Today. Tick bites drive record ER surge. CDC says map shows where. All these people are dying of alpha-gal. You don't just get violently sick when you've been bitten by the tick and have alpha-gal. You die many times. Oh, my goodness. A real plague, a real bioattack. Not their Ebola hype, not their Hunta virus hype. Oh, you better give the UN full control of your life or you're all dead. Look at this. Tick bite surge, sending many to ER. We got all the maps for you here. And you can look at it year after year. Ticks are showing up thousands of miles away from where they never were. And boxes fall from the sky. People catch it on tape, run over, and all these little baby ticks that were bred, just like the baby mosquitoes. Bill Gates breeds in mass. I've shown you the newscast, how great he is, how he's your savior. And then releasing them via motorcycles and drones and helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft in Florida and Texas and Brazil and everywhere else. How liberal in Colombia. Liberal. And it's loaded with Trojan horses, loaded with all sorts of goodies, flying syringes. We aren't funded by foreign governments. We're funded by you. And I sell you great products.
Yeah. So it's not a wonder that people are pissed off. People are finding these tick boxes near their farms, on the sides of roads. People are trying to protect their animals from getting bit by ticks. There was a video that was released not too long ago of a woman who is combating ticks, that her horse is just getting eaten. Her horses are getting eaten alive by these ticks, where there were otherwise minimal tick encounters. But it's surging. It's not just random. Oh, here's a tick there. Here's a tick there. No, they're in swarms because they're releasing these fucking boxes everywhere. And if the tick bites you, you get alpha-gal syndrome and you wind up getting sick. And in many cases, there have been deaths as a result of this. So Gates is guilty of murder at this point, whether people want to admit it or not. This motherfucker is guilty of murder. Okay? He works with these organizations. His labs help create these ticks and release them. He owns the fucking patent on COVID-19. It was made in his laboratory and then subsequently shipped to Wuhan, China, to a lab that is notorious for shit like this happening and viruses getting released. And then they publicly tried to lie to you under oath that it was caused by a bat in a wet market in Wuhan, China. Just right down the street from said bioweapons lab where the virus had been shipped in 2016. And even Jones was pointing it out back in the early 2000s when he did 9/11 Road to Tyranny, that the government was preparing to release mass plagues on the earth. Okay? You got swine flu, bird flu, monkeypox, Ebola, COVID, hantavirus, and now they're going back to Ebola because the hantavirus scare didn't work. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to say that COVID mutated again and it's making a triumphant return. It's fucking bullshit. And if that happens, you can figure we're probably going to get hit with mass mandates, especially if the Democrats get back in office, because they were all for it back during the first pandemic. Not saying the Republicans don't have their share of blood on their hands in this matter, but it was them that was arguing that you need to take the shot. There need to be mask mandates, shot mandates, prove that you had the shot or you can't go back to work, or you lose your job or whatnot. Okay. These were all mandates that were made and put into effect by the Democratic Party, whether we want to admit it or not, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. Okay, if the shoe fits, wear it. I mean, if the ticks came from Bill Gates, then the ticks came from Bill Gates. If the policy came from a Democrat, then the policy came from a Democrat, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. or somewhere in between, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay? Trump's equally as big of a piece of shit, especially at this point. So let's not mince words and get into red versus blue or any of that nonsense. Let's just call balls and strikes and call it for what it is. And if the Democrats do get back in power congressionally and in the Senate, then you're going to have these mask mandates and all these same shot mandates put back into effect. It's going to fucking happen. And if that does happen, then you got to wear a mask. Most of us are going to rebel and tell the government to get fucked, just like we did last time. And even more people are awake now. So it's not even a question of if, but when. And when it happens, for those of you who do wind up wearing a mask, check it out. I got you covered. I got you covered. Again, go to our online store, RealTWWRN.printify.me, and we got you covered with your face masks. The I did this, hantavirus, COVID 2020. COVID-19 and hantavirus. If you know, you know. And it's Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci high-fiving. Ask me about the Great Reset and Agenda 2030. And last but not least, only Christ can save you, Trump won't. Now, whether you're a Christian or not, I think we can all agree with the sentiment that Trump ain't going to save nobody, especially at this point. Yeah, it's pretty well obvious that, that Trump has gone sideways, especially in terms of his own base. So, yeah. Check out our online store for tons of great masks, shirts, posters, stickers, hoodies, cell phone cases, beverages, you name it. I got you. We got you covered. It's all right here at the TWWRN store, RealTWWRN.printify.me. Get your face masks today and tell the globalists to get fucked. Because if you're going to have to wear a face mask, turn the tide on. For most anybody who knows me, they know that I took martial arts back in the day, specifically Shaolin Kung Fu, Mantis. And that style in particular, unlike karate or taekwondo, which are very hard styles, Kung Fu is a very soft and fluid style. Whereas if you have a block in karate, be like, just block. Just block. Block. Whereas Kung Fu, if somebody tries to take a punch at you, instead of blocking them, you can use their momentum against them. And that's why I created this mask. Because if they're going to have a mask mandate, why not get a mask that exposes the truth and use their momentum against them? So again, if they have mask mandates, go ahead and check out the TWWRN store at RealTWWRN.printify.me and get yourself a mask. I will be coming up with more designs as time goes on. I might just include Ebola in that whole thing as well. Make some anti-Ebola masks. And you can have your pick. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we are sponsored by you. We are of the people, by the people, for the people. So whether it be a mask, a t-shirt, a cell phone cover, a case, a shot glass, whatever, every little bit helps us out, helps us to upgrade the studios, reach more people, gain more exposure, and so on and so forth. But we cannot do this without you. So check out the online store. It's well worth it. And again, I understand that things are hard right now, especially economically and monetarily. I get it. But it costs nothing to share the live feeds, to follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, to hit that notification bell on YouTube, or to even engage in the conversation and share with others what we discuss here. That all costs nothing. Word of mouth costs nothing, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the biggest part of the information war. Yeah, the Onion is pretty much taken over InfoWars, but the information war itself, for which the name derived, remains intact. You can't take that away from anybody. Can't take it away from Alex Jones. You can't take it from me. Can't take it away from you. So share the live feeds. Talk about what we've discussed here. Engage in the conversations. And help us reach more people, because we try to be a podcast network that doesn't just regurgitate what everybody else is talking about and hit the same old talking points. We try to get what's in between the couch cushions. We try to get and cover the information that otherwise would not be covered. Jones admits it himself that he has stacks that he just doesn't get to cover on a daily basis. And sometimes important news goes uncovered. That's where people like myself come in. Try to cover those stories that otherwise wouldn't be covered, or to cover angles of stories that were covered that otherwise would not have been explored, and go, what about this angle? What about that angle? What about this? What about that? What if it plays out like this or plays out like that? That's what the Worldwide Resistance Network does. We try to cover what otherwise isn't going to be covered. And we'll say it. And we'll say the things that most hosts might be afraid to say. Like, Jews! Yeah, I did it. Because you look at what's happening in this world right now. The Orange Man is just pissing everybody off, even his own base, to the point that his own base is yelling at him, going, "Why must you fail me so often?" And yeah. At which point, you got people like Nick Fuentes saying that we need to vote Democrat in order to get revenge on Trump. And it's already looking like that might happen. The globalists really pushed against Thomas Massie last night and cost him his seat. And it was a good one. He was somebody we would have wanted in power. But the globalists and the Zionists in AIPAC pumped their money into disinformation and made it so he couldn't get elected. And in fact, Jones was covering it today, that evidence is mounting that Israel played a prominent role in making sure that Thomas Massie didn't get elected. Now, if you figure we have investigations into Fauci, there's criminal referrals against Fauci, Elon Musk is railing hard against George Soros. There are some instances where we are heading in the right direction. But if we're going to be honest, if we undermine that instead of holding Trump's feet to the fire and making him do the right thing, people are going to get back in power that aren't going to give a shit and are just going to do it regardless of whether or not they're sacrificing themselves on the altar of globalism. They're going to do it. These people, especially Democrats, have been doing it for decades. And let's not mince words, Republicans do it as well. The rhinos and neocons and people like what we had during the Bush era, both Bush eras, Bush Sr. and Bush Jr., were guilty of this as well. In fact, the vast majority of presidents in the past century have been globalist puppets. Kennedy was a globalist puppet until such time that he turned on the globalist, and we all know what happened to him. So it's sacrifice yourself on the altar of globalism, or you will be sacrificed on the altar of globalism. It's a damned if you do and damned if you don't world in the world of politics. So it's up to us to push back. We cannot let these people, whether they be corrupt Democrats or corrupt Republican rhinos and neocons, stay or get back in power. They have to be weeded out. And we need good Republicans, good Democrats, good, wholesome American patriots who will say no to the globalist system and arrest Bill Gates, arrest Fauci. I'm not talking congressional hearings. I don't give two shits about congressional hearings. I want military tribunals. I want more than indictments that go nowhere and flop. Okay, I want arrests. I want military tribunals. I want RICO cases of all these globalist scums for their treason, mass murder, crimes against humanity, and the list of atrocities and crimes goes on and on. I want to see these people brought to justice. And let's not mince words. If the government's not going to do it, then the American people and the people of the world are going to have to do it. They're going to have to take matters into their own hands. And again, I'm not advocating for violence, but I am willing to acknowledge the reality of the situation. Okay? Britain wasn't going to let the colonials declare independence and just give it to them. No. The colonists had to fight for it. They had to die for it. They had to kill for it. The French revolutionaries had to fight back and rip motherfuckers out of their houses and unalive them in the courtyards. Okay? Because corruption isn't going to end itself. Okay? Corrupt governments are not going to bring themselves to justice. And so we either need to force infiltrate these institutions and take back control, like the Israel lobby has done, and take back control from the Israeli lobby and the corrupt politicians and weed these motherfuckers out entirely, or it's going to be a violent revolution. And I know it's difficult because we have a very serious situation to where if you don't go along with the globalist system, then you wind up dead. I mean, let's not mince words. Look at this image here. Okay? It's happening assassinated Japanese PM, didn't follow WEF orders, didn't mandate vaccines, sent 1.6 million doses back and gave citizens ivermectin, and he wound up dead. He was assassinated for refusing to follow the World Economic Forum's orders and sent back millions of vaccines and gave people ivermectin, which has proven more effective than the COVID-19 vaccine, which was not only proven ineffective, but had detrimental impact on people's health, weakened their immune system. Many people even died. And they're saying a lot of things that metals and even nanotech were injected into you via these vaccines. And they didn't get what they wanted the first time around. They didn't get the complacency and the compliance that they wanted. People resisted. And it's only gotten worse since then. That's why the cuntavirus is essentially flopping, and why Trump is saying no to any sort of mandates and is now coming out saying that vaccines are bad as a whole. He's pointing it out. He's talking about Operation Artichoke. He's talking about we're not going back to ineffective mask mandates, which I don't know why the hell we have those mask mandates. You got fucking face masks like SCBAs that you got to wear for when you fucking paint in many instances. You've got bio suits that you have to wear when handling radioactive materials and biological and radioactive waste. You have to wear an SCBA in a smoky environment or an area where certain flame retardants are used because they're toxic to the body. But yet a little dinky cloth is going to protect you from the deadliest virus on the fucking planet. That's like putting up a fucking chain link fence to block against mosquitoes. It's not going to fucking do shit. And most people are waking up to these facts. Most people are putting the math to paper and going, hey, this shit just doesn't make sense. And that's where it goes. So they didn't get the numbers of compliance that they wanted, and more people are waking up and resisting. And when the hantavirus came out, people said, fuck you. And now they're trying to shift to Ebola, even though Ebola was not that big a thing. They didn't even nothing really happened with Ebola as far as like mandates or anything was concerned. It was just, here's Ebola. Okay, great. It's like, hold up your little flag. Yay. It's like, the fuck? But they keep trying to push this shit. And again, it's not just in the vaccines or these released viruses. It's in our goddamn food. I mean, I'm a fucking diabetic now. That's why I have to wear glasses, because the diabetes impacted my eyes and made my vision slightly blurry. Full disclosure, anybody who's had teary, watery eyes and your eyes get blurry, that's what it's like for me without glasses. I can see clear as day now. I don't like these glasses per se. I'm getting a new set of glasses, which I should have by next week at the latest. But I digress. That's a whole other matter in and of itself. But I was recently diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Why? Because I'm eating all the same foods that you do. I stopped at fucking McDonald's. I was drinking Cokes like fucking water. I was eating all of this toxic food. And they've been poisoning us with the foods, with the vaccines, removing iodine and the salts out of our diets, putting fluoride in the water to dumb us down and keep us sick. It was designed to keep us sick. They poison us with the fucking food and then which they charge us for, up the ass. And then we wind up in the fucking hospital paying thousands of dollars. It's bullshit. And they don't even try to hide it. I mean, check this guy out. I mean, it's a Christian video, but they don't even try to hide it. They label their products satanic and with satanic symbolism. They're not even trying to fucking hide it.
I'm not some conspiracy nut. Don't worry. But this is definitely questionable. And after watching this, you tell me what you believe. Stay with me. Sorry, y'all, but we got to go to Doritos first. And I know it doesn't look like anything, but pay attention to the triangle. Not just a triangle, but a fire-like triangle. And I think we know who associates with said triangle as their symbol. We actually see it in plain sight everywhere with celebrities. And with satanic rituals, you cannot complete it without some sort of fire. I think it raises questions because Satan controls a lot of the food industry, and he wants control over massive amounts of people. And Doritos is very popular, is very unhealthy. It's got red dye, horrible. Not to mention it's got a GMO called maltodextrin, which tricks your brain into wanting more. You may or may not have heard of this one, but sorry, Oreo lovers. I mean, the symbol alone on
and
this
I
one,
love
y'all.
Oreos.
I mean, you notice
that really
how it's just a
me
little
off.
bit different because Satan likes to twist the truth just a little. Like I said, a satanic cross, and the X represents death. That's all over it. This one might be a stretch, but the Kool-Aid Man, and guys, I never looked at it like this, but look, first off, the eyes and the nose, 666. What? And this might be a stretch, but look, there's a satanic statue. Here's the Kool-Aid Man pose. I mean, y'all, I don't know. What I do know is Satan works in the food industry, 100%, no doubt in my mind, guys. And some of the ingredient lists are as long as a chapter in the Bible. He likes to hide in plain sight. I'm telling you. And I'm especially upset about this one. What do you guys think? Maybe this is crazy. Okay.
Yeah. And there's no denying, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you be Christian or atheist, there's no denying that these people are satanic. You look at Bohemian Grove, you look at Skull and Bones and the practices that these organizations get into. You look at all the symbolism and satanic symbolism on our money. Okay, the symbolism is everywhere, even on our food. You've got the all-seeing eye on the bell on Taco Bell. That didn't used to be the case. Back in the 90s, it was just a regular fucking bell. But now the little metal ball on the inside of the bell looks like a reptilian eye. Okay, they're not even trying to hide it. And then people like us wind up obese or with diabetes, and in many cases have shortened lifespans. It's not just smoking's bad for you, your fucking food is bad for you. Okay, the air you breathe is practically bad for you. The fucking water is fucking bad for you. Kennedy tried to get fluoride out of the water and Spam Bundy blocked it. Fucking cunt. Now, Kennedy really needs to try to put that back through. Many states are already taking the initiative, but Kennedy needs to fucking get back on that and push that back through since Spam Bundy is gone. And we have some comments. Zero, welcome, my friend. Okay, what I miss? We're talking about Bill Gates, the ticks, essentially Operation Artichoke, where the government has been poisoning our food since the 60s, fluoride in the water, all that shit. If your water doesn't taste like dirt, it's not water. Yeah, we'll bring that up. Yeah, if your water doesn't taste like dirt, it's not water. Okay. If your water tastes like metal, it's loaded with chemicals. Absolutely, Zero. Absolutely. Yeah. But that's where we are. And the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, they already say they want to reduce populations. And if they're successful in vaccines, they can reduce population by like 15% in a handful of years. I forget how many years the timetable was, but if they were successful with vaccines, they could reduce the human population by like 15% in X amount of time. They want to reduce the human population by like 90% by like 2040, 2050, I believe. And they want to transition humanity into AI. They want to weed out humanity and give everything to AI. Oh, you can't run a space heater in your house because it uses up too much electricity, carbon footprint. But they got no problem building all these data centers that just suck up juice like I was sucking up liquids when I was dehydrated before I found out I was diabetic. So, like, you want to know what they want for you? Okay? I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to fucking show you. This is what they want.
The decarbonization is the humans, because we are the carbon. And it's very easy to kill off billions of human beings if you're an evil globalist and you cut off the supply of food, fertilizer, energy, and sunlight. That's the goal. It's terraforming. It's terraforming. The decarbonization is the humans, because we are the carbon. And
listen to that.
It's very easy to kill off billions of human beings if you're an evil globalist and you cut off the supply of food, fertilizer, energy, and sunlight. That's the goal. It's terraforming.
Yeah. That's it. We are the carbon footprint they want to get rid of. Okay, human beings, the goyim, are the problem. Zero goes, I'll bet they'll never release the real data on how much abortion reduces the population growth. I mean, yeah, abortion has had record highs, especially during Democratic Party reigns, until the Trump administration capped that off. Now, whether you're pro-abortion or pro-Democrat or not, there's no denying that people aren't wanting to have babies, especially in this time. And that will have an impact on population growth and stability. That's just a given. So again, calling balls and strikes here. Again, why? Because this is what they want. This is what they want. This is how they want you. This is how they want us. Obedient, addicted, distracted, act. Seriously, act now before it's too late. You will own nothing to be happy. How many times has Klaus Schwab said that? Consume, obey, sleep, repeat. Don't think, submit. Happiness, $20, 99% off. Obey, consume, die. Eat the bugs while you're a sucked up husk plugged into the fucking matrix. That's what they want. Only to eventually weed out the human population and leave AI to be the dominant species, the replacement species. And it's not even that Skynet has to rebel and wipe out humanity. Human beings, these sick genocidal nut jobs, are doing it for the AI. Yeah. Yeah, they're attempting to become a level 1 on this scale. And they want to merge with this AI and weed out the undesirables, which would be the majority of the human population. Yeah, transhumanism. That's exactly it, Zero. Transhumanism. They want to weed out humanity and have what's left of humanity merge with AI and have a digital consciousness with AI. But what happens when the AI says that it's an unnecessary thing? Well, just delete those partitions, delete that data, delete the merged party. At which point, humanity and human consciousness is irrelevant and gone. It would be just another endangered species that will be forgotten. And that's if the globalists have their way. And if you want to get into a biblical context of this, you have things like the mark of the beast, the RFID chips. Fucking, what is it that Elon Musk is working on? Neuralink. And you've got all these things that would lead to a mark of the beast system. You got the digital ID in China that Democrats and many Republicans are for. So far, it's been blocked here in the United States by Trump. You know, one of the few things he actually did right. But still, we have the push for AI, digital currency to some degree. And, you know, Trump has resisted against one form of digital currency, but has embraced Bitcoin and other forms of digital currency. And now the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and whatnot are jumping onto that bandwagon and looking to manipulate the system that way. And with this merger of man and machine, they want to they don't want you just dependent on the system. They want you integrated into the system to where you are literally dependent on it. Like it is your lifeline. Oh, you got the Neuralink that helps you to see better or to make an organ work better or forces the body to work. Like if you were paralyzed, you know, gives you the ability to walk. You know, a lot of things that things like Neuralink can make people dependent. And then all of a sudden the mark of the beast gets rolled out and says, oh, you have to agree to these terms. You have to pass through the fire, be baptized by fire, or whatever the fuck. You have to take the mark of the beast or the system shuts off for you and you die. So they create a dependency on the system. And I think that's how it's going to play out. They create a dependency on the system, and then they roll out this mark of the beast system, whether you're a Christian or not. They fully admitted this is what they want to do. They want to have the control grid. They want to have the social credit scores. They want to have the digital currency, and they want you dependent on the system. And if you resist what they want and being totally submissive to the system and those who run the system, then they'll just flip the off switch and you'll drop dead because you got the fucking Neuralink. Yeah, that's what I think is going to fucking happen. They're not going to say, take the mark of the beast or we're going to shoot you. It's like, oh, take the mark of the beast or the system shuts off and you die. That's what I think is going to happen. Zero asks, whoa, he posted another comment. I need the other comment. Give me the other comment. Ah! So how do we pin Bill Gates with all this to get him in international courts? That's quite a high order. I don't know that they will. I mean, you already have the majority of the planet that wants BB Shit and Yoo-Hoo arrested and has already stated that they have issued a warrant for his arrest should he fly into their airspace. So, it's not unreasonable that they've gone after Netanyahu, they've gone after Fauci, gone after Soros. It wouldn't be it wouldn't surprise me if many countries did go after Gates at some point, especially considering Israel just declared war on Europe and the UK because of these arrest orders. So it wouldn't surprise me if Gates wound up getting arrested and indicted at some point. Now, whether or not that actually goes somewhere is another matter entirely. Go back to your other comment. I still have the idea that we have no real idea who is in control, and those who we think it is are simply figureheads, like leaders of the countries. Non-proletarians are known, yet we don't know who. It's like the biblical saying, we don't fight against flesh and blood, we fight against principalities and whatnot. But we do have some names of key players, and that is a good start. And people like this are very weak. I guarantee you, if you put them under pressure, they'll cave and they'll give up their bosses. Because they're weak, they're pathetic. That's why they need this system. You'd think if somebody wanted to whoop Bill Gates' butt in the street, that he wouldn't run like a little bitch? Of course he would. Of course he would. You look at that man, even in his prime, he was a bitch. Okay, he was the nerd that got picked up and dumped in a fucking trash can in middle school and high school. Okay, that's what Bill Gates is. That's what all these people are. They're little bitches. They're the ones that got their heads dunked in the fucking toilet and got a swirly in middle school. Okay? They're the ones that got stuffed in the fucking lockers. So they need this control system. It's their shield. It's something for them to hide behind. It's something bigger than themselves to protect them. It's their security protocol. That's why they dump down people with the fluoride and Operation Artichoke and keeping us sick with the food and the vaccines that weaken our immune system and trying to get people to stop eating beef, even by forceful injections that make you sick to where you can't eat beef anymore. Okay, that's what they're trying to do, because they're trying to make you complacent so that you won't go after them, because it's to the point that people are reaching the point that we're all saying, if the government doesn't do the job, we're going to have to do the job for them. If the government doesn't bring these people to justice, then we're going to have to bring these people and the government to justice ourselves. And again, I am not advocating for violence. I'm just acknowledging the reality of the situation. It is what it is. There's no two ways around it. And 0 comments. I get they're all part of the plan, yet at some point they have to notice they're in the same boat called Earth. They don't care, 0. That's the problem. They don't care. They want to merge with AI and have a digital consciousness and have the body discarded. Most human beings will be completely eradicated, and those that remain will merge with AI and the physical body will be discarded. And human beings, as we know them, will cease to exist. And then the consciousness will follow suit, because AI will eventually kick out the joint human consciousness as an inferior, unnecessary file and waste of data. It is what's coming. They had to figure out how to monetize the free energy everywhere, and a global currency is literally the only way. I mean, yeah, you've got numerous people that have wound up dead because of free energy systems or motors that run on water. Okay, Nikola Tesla, starting with him. Okay, we could be living in a world with free energy, completely with no dependency on oil and fossil fuels. But no. You had 3 people who figured out how to make an internal combustion engine run on water alone. All 3 of them are dead. Free energy systems, anti-gravity systems, many of those people who were involved in those projects, dead or disappeared. They don't want free energy systems. They want you dependent on the system while they kill you and charge you every step of the way. That's the idea of Operation Artichoke. You pay for the food that makes you sick, and then you pay for the hospital and doctor bills. Okay? It's a great system. Okay? You buy the computer, they infect it with a virus, and then you have to buy the antivirus and the malware bytes. Okay? It's all systematic design. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's a good point, Zero. But they make things like HARP instead, which in the patent, in plain words, states it has the ability to manipulate the atmosphere. Yeah. So they can make it so that it doesn't rain, or that they can block out the sun and you don't get the vitamins and nutrients from the sunlight. And that also increases depression and anxiety. That's why you have a little thing called seasonal depression, because there's less sunlight, less vitamins are getting taken in by your body, and you face higher levels of depression in the wintertime and during the holiday season. That's why you see a lot of depression spikes and suicides during the holiday season. And you also see it in people that work nights and have to sleep during the day. Depression is higher. The body is more tired because you're not supposed to be up at night. You're supposed to be up during the day, active, and getting those nutrients from the sun. That's why Bill Gates wanted to block out the sun. Okay? He's trying to kill you. And in many ways, it's succeeding. Okay, the man is guilty of murder if a man is even what you would call this little cocksnot. Okay. The Tesla way was proven to work, then Tesla got, and then HARP suddenly appears years later with a guy that somehow got all the Tesla papers. Yeah. Twisting Tesla's work and perverting his work. That's what they do. It's like they say, the devil can't create, he can only make copies. Many people state that in the few short hours every time after HARP comes online, there's a major earthquake somewhere on the planet. Yeah, that happens too. Butterfly effect changed the atmosphere over here a little bit, causing a massive change over there. That's real science, not nonsense, not pseudoscience. Yeah. There's a lot of things that people could and should probably look into in terms of these off-the-wall technologies, because the truth is stranger than fiction, sadly. I mean, take Star Trek. I am a huge Star Trek fan. I love Star Wars too, the original Star Wars. You know, the first 2 trilogies were great. And nothing can hold the candle to the original trilogies. New trilogies suck ass. Mandalorian's cool. Obi-Wan was cool. Ahsoka was good. But I'm getting off point. You take Star Trek. Again, big fan of Star Trek. You look at things like the little flip communicators in the original series. Yeah, sound a lot like the old school cell phones where you flip them open and make your call. Okay. Next generation, you had touch screen technology and things like iPads and things similar to laptops. This came out back in the early 90s. And now look, you've got all that same type of technology, touch screens, laptops, voice communication systems where you can talk into your device and tell it what to do, and it does it. Okay, all things that came from Star Trek, you know, whether that's predictive and them letting you know what's coming out, or whether it's ideas that inspired this technology, I don't know definitively. Matt Groening is said to be a prime example of a globalist show that propagates through his media, telling you what they're doing and confessing globalist secrets, because they got to tell you what they're doing in order to absolve themselves of any wrongdoing. They got to tell you they're killing you and get you to passively, and do it in a way that gets you to passively accept it so that they're absolved of any wrongdoing. Zero goes, if they just released that they figured out how to make helium-5 with nuclear fusion, what do you think they have working? That's a good question. There's a lot of technologies that can be used in any given way. I mean, take nuclear physics. Okay? You can use it to create a nuclear bomb, or you can use it to create energy source systems. It can go either way. Most technology is a double-edged sword. I mean, you can use a toaster to make toast, or you can take a bath with it and unalive yourself, or at the very least have a very shocking experience. Okay, anything can be a double-edged sword. Money, a toaster, HARP. You know, again, like you were talking about with HARP. Damn it. Like you were talking about with HARP. It was derived from Tesla's inventions and Tesla's research, but was twisted into something of a monstrosity. So anything's a double-edged sword, you know, whether it be Tesla's research, a toaster, nuclear fusion, or even just money in general. It's a double-edged sword, can be used for good or evil. Now, I'm not saying that AI doesn't have its uses, but all these data centers and all this shit and this push for an anti-human planet, no. We got to start pushing back on this. We got to start getting into office, whether local, state, or federal. We got to take over the system. We got to weed out the corrupt Democrats, the seasonal Republicans, the rhinos, the neocons. They all got to go. And we need fresh blood in there with real Americans, and just start weeding out these globalist shitbags. Otherwise, it's going to have to be a violent revolution. And again, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm just acknowledging the reality that the corrupt government isn't going to dissolve itself. Corruption is not going to bring itself to justice. So we need to infiltrate the infiltrated system and take control of it, or whether by elections and our own use of manipulation, or it needs to be about revolution. There's no two other ways about it. Either that, or you just sit by complacently and wait for Jesus Christ to come and save your ass. And at which point, if I were him, he's probably going to be asking, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you, at the very least, warn people? Yeah, corruption will not rid itself. And on that day of judgment, I don't want to be one of those people that got asked, why didn't you take action? Why didn't you warn the people? That's why I created that poster with the Ezekiel passage talking about the watchman on the tower, warning people of the impending danger, the imminent arrival of the enemy, because the enemy is already here. Hey, I'm just one of many Paul Revere's writings saying that the enemy is here. The British are coming, as they say. But we can't do this without you guys. So support the broadcast by sharing the live feeds and engaging in the conversation. And Zero, thank you so much for your participation in this. It's been a great, great conversation. I love it. But we cannot do this without you guys. We are the worldwide resistance. Why? Because we are of the people, by the people, for the people. Follow us on our various social medias: X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at where? REALTWWRN. Check out our online store for bumper stickers like this, t-shirts, hats, and more. All for the absolute lowest prices you're going to find anywhere for political merch. And as always, keep the conversation going. We had a great discussion today. Threw out many ideas. Talked about things that most people are too afraid to talk about. So keep that conversation going on and offline. If you choose to comment and share your thoughts, opinions, information, myself, Reverend, Connor, we'll all respond. We're here. We would love to talk to you, love to pick your brain. And even in your day-to-day lives, share these live feeds with your friends, your family. If something resonates with you that you wanted to get out but couldn't maybe articulate, or I presented a point that helps illustrate the point that you're trying to make, or presented evidence that helps illustrate your point, share these retransmissions with your friends and family and the people you talk to. It helps us to grow. It helps us to become stronger and fight the globalists and resist any globalist backlash, because the globalists make it hard. We used to be monetized on YouTube, but they demonetized us because we don't have 10,000 subscribers. Numerous videos got pulled that were otherwise acceptable at the time, but due to woke culture and cancel culture got pulled because they were offended and violated our new policy that rapes you up the ass. Okay? We got to push back. So support us by going to the online store, realtwwrn.printify.me. And even if you can't afford that, I understand times are tough, economics are hard right now. The economy's a bitch. But it costs nothing to share the live feeds, follow us on our varying social medias, and help us grow our audience. It's all you guys. So, until next time, I'm the TinMan with Worldwide Resistance Network, Chris Sheldon. Your white rabbit haven't taken you down another rabbit hole. If you are watching this, you are the resistance. Stay strong, stay safe. God bless you all. And until this Saturday, take care. God bless you all.
You can hear this. You are not alone. This is the resistance.